may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, guys, thank you all so much for the support lately. I mean, we are kind of skyrocketing towards 500 subscribers at this point, which I'm going to be completely honest, I did not expect that at all. I've been on record telling y'all that a lot of people watching these videos, I promise you, you know more about fantasy baseball than I do. I'm trying to be completely honest, and while I think that yes, I can help a lot of people, while we can do our research together and we can continue to grow this community, we need to make sure, guys, the number one thing that y'all can be doing is going down to the comment section and letting other people who are watching these videos know your opinion on these players, know your opinion on what's going on. Because I promise you, the guys that you're playing in your fantasy baseball league, your opponents, they're not watching this video. They're not a part of this chat. So please go to the comment section and try to help out everybody in the flock. And if you would like, we also have a free fantasy baseball group chat that you can find on Discord. I'll leave the link to that chat down in the comment section, and it's also in the description of every single video. But that's it. Now let's dive into this video. And what we're going to be talking about is we are going to be talking about some pitchers who have had a very nice start to 2021. And yes, let's address the elephant in the room. They've only had one start. Okay, the sample size is going to be so small here that you can't take everything away from it. But what we want to do, especially with these starting pitchers, is we want to start tracking how their season's going to go. That way, once we get to that 2-3 week mark and they've had multiple starts under their belt, that's when we can start feeling things out. That's when we can go, okay, maybe our priors on this player were a little bit off. Maybe the projections didn't live up to their expectation. But regardless, let's dive into our first pitcher here. And this is going to be the leader in strikeouts so far for Major League Baseball. It's going to be Jose Berrios. And before we get into exactly what he did in his first start, let's profile the player that was coming into fantasy baseball drafts this season. So he was the 30th pitcher off the board, and he was going at pick 82 overall in high-stakes leagues. Now, he's only 26 years old, so he's not even in his prime yet. He's still someone that you'd expect to get better season over season, pitching for the Twins. And what I always like to do with these players, if you're new to the channel, is I like to specifically look at that 2019 season that they had from, because in that 2019 year, you have a full sample to look at. And you don't have any of the weird things going on like 2020, when a lot of players didn't know if they were going to get to play. A lot of people didn't prepare for the season. So 2019 is going to be my favorite year to look at. And here it's going to be a little bit hard for Jose Berrios because we understand that he was only 24 years old at the time of this season. So he's still someone that should be significantly better in his age 26, age 27 year than he was in 2019. But regardless, we look at this season, and he had a ridiculous amount of innings pitched, which we know is going to be a difference maker for pretty much anybody, regardless of your format, where he pitched 200 total innings. Now, the problem was he just cannot rack up strikeouts. I know his first night, he looked fantastic with the amount of Ks that he got, but in 2019, with those 200 innings pitched, he actually had a 0.98 strikeout per inning ratio, which we know is nowhere close to what you want it to be. And his WHIP ERA, a little bit average, especially for a pitcher that was going 30th overall. It was down there at 1.22 for his WHIP and a 3.68 for his ERA. Then you go to 2020, and these numbers get worse. Obviously, the innings pitched are going to be down there at 63 because it's a small sample, small season. The strikeouts go up slightly, at least the rate of strikeouts, where he eclipsed one strikeout per inning. Is up there at 1.05, so nothing great at all. The WHIP increases, the ERA increases, but what we talk about all the time is that 2020 season, I really don't want to be reading too much into it. And in 2021, so far, he's only pitched 6 innings. So like I said, this is even less important than that 2020 year, but we want to be monitoring these players. He pitched 6 innings. He had 0 hits allowed, 0 walks, and a total of 12 strikeouts. So a fantastic first game for Jose Berrios. Obviously, if you drafted him, you started him, and he came through and quite possibly is going to win you multiple categories this week. So yeah, ice hot, hoping that this continues. But anyway, let's get to our next pitcher. And this is going to be Corbin Burnes. Pitcher for the Brewers, only 26 years old, just like the last guy we talked about. Now, he was going a little bit higher in fantasy baseball drafts this year, where he was the 18th pitcher off the board at pick 56 overall in high-stakes leagues. And what sucks is we just don't have the large sample on Corbin Burnes, where in 2019, at only 24 years old, he pitched a total of 49 innings. And in these innings, I mean, there were just two very important things that we need to look at. The fact that he is getting Ks at a ridiculous rate. He was getting 1.42 strikeouts per inning. But on the flip side of that, the whip and the ERA through the roof. I mean, the whip is up there at 1.8. So he's allowing 1.8 walks or hits per inning. The ERA was close to 9. Now, yes, this is a small sample. But then you go to 2020, actually a little bit of a larger sample here where you get 59 innings pitched. And he is averaging a strikeout and a half per inning. Now, that is an elite rate, and that is in line with what we got in 2019 as well. Now, the whip, the ERA also plummet in 2020. I want to remind you all that, just like we said with Jose Barrios, I mean, Burnes here, you would expect him to continue to improve, as he was only 24 years old in 2019. He was only 25 years old in 2020. So by no means is he close to his peak self. But still, 2020, he does take that significant step forward, seeing close to a 1.0 whip and a 2.11 ERA with still that elite strikeout per inning ratio. And now he starts off 2021 fantastically, where in 6 innings pitched, he ends up getting 11 strikeouts, and he only lets up 1 hit, where, yes, it was a home run, so obviously that hurts, and what hurts even more is the fact that his team couldn't get runs to help him win the game. But still, you're looking at this situation going, hey, that's a hell of a start for Corbin Burnes. He is going to be so interesting for specific formats, because if you're playing in one of those points leagues where you really want to prioritize getting strikeouts, then he can destroy where he was being drafted this offseason. But maybe if you're playing in a traditional 5x5 roto league, then it's going to be a little bit harder for him to touch every single category. Definitely a polarizing player, definitely someone that has a wide range of outcomes. And so you love to see that he has that strong start to 2021. Okay, so now let's get our last pitcher up here. Now, this is going to be a pitcher for the Phillies in Zack Wheeler. Now, he was going later than the first two guys we discussed in fantasy baseball drafts this year. He was going as the 34th pitcher off the board at pick 100 overall. And Zack Wheeler, a little bit older. He's 30 years old, but we know 30 years old for a pitcher is not something you need to worry about. And in 2019, he had a season that was kind of similar to Jose Barrios, where he had a great amount of innings pitched. He was up there at 195 innings pitched. But just like Jose, I mean, the strikeouts per inning, very low at 1.0. The whip, ERA, kind of average. I mean, 1.26 for his whip, a 3.96 ERA. So you're not looking at any of these numbers really being elite. In 2020, he comes through and surprisingly manages to strike out less hitters per inning, where he's at 0.75 strikeouts per inning. Now, yes, this is a very faulty season to look at, but still it's noticeable that a pitcher that you were already worried wasn't going to give you a significant amount of strikeouts is dipping down even further. But at least he has a strong start to 2021 so far, where he has 7 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts in this game, only 1 hit allowed, and 0 walks. So you love to see that start, and I'll say here with the Zack Wheeler, maybe you want him in a standard category format where you're not too incentivized to get strikeouts. Now, obviously, you're still incentivized to get strikeouts in a category format, but it's not close to a head-to-head points league. So depending on your league format, I think Zack Wheeler could be intriguing as either a buy or a sell, but it's going to be up to your league. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like I said at the beginning, please go down, leave a comment. If I said anything dumb that you disagree with, your opinion matters. Let me hear it in the comment section below. Let everybody else watching this video hear it. And while you're down there, join our free fantasy baseball group chat. And I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.